Hey, thanks for tuning in. This is Pound for Pound, powered by Cricket. Cricket got family plans 4 for $25. Come on, bro, you gotta go get it. We got single lines that's starting at $30. Hey, and for everybody that like to chill with their boo thing on the couch, we got Max for select plans. Make sure you go to cricketwireless.com for all the deals and specials and everything they got going on. Now let's get into the show. Let's go. What's up, guys? It's Rafion here. We're at Pound for Pound, and we're here with the only Nigerian men's basketball coach at the Division I level. We got Tony Skins here. And Tony, before we start, I got one question. You know what I mean? Before we get into the questions, Skinn. Where did the Skinn come from? You know, because I know my name isn't a Nigerian name.
Yeah.
Where does the Skinn come from?
Man, it's funny because a large part of my career when I was playing up until I played with the Nigerian National team, I kind of went under the radar because of that. But that's a great question. I don't know. I really don't. You know, when we migrated here from Nigeria when I was a kid, I came with my mother.
Yeah.
And so I don't really have a relationship with my father's side, but she still kept his name. So
yeah,
that's a great question, man. I might need to start researching.
Well, hey, man, we're in the same boat because the stats is like from somebody that it was a stepfather that I don't even know. You know, my dad's last name was actually Ukandu. Okay. You know what I mean? So that should be my name, but we got stats some type of way. All right, so we're gonna move into my first question. Okay, cool. So this is your first year as the head coach, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so they say, you know what I mean, the only difference between the assistant coach and the head coach is 12 inches of the seating, pretty much where you're sitting. Yeah. How do you feel, what do you feel like the big difference is, and how do you feel about this new role as a head coach?
I'm feel a lot better now that I'm, 5 months in. Mm-hmm. I've been very fortunate to work alongside some really, really good head coaches that put me in a position where my load was heavy. And so you're learning so much along the way without recognizing that, you're not the head coach, but when you do get your opportunity, you're as close as you're gonna be. Just like any other profession, when you switch jobs or when you switch roles, you never have the blueprint to be experienced.
Yeah.
But, getting your first opportunity is part of the experience. And so, myself and my staff, we've been just grinding it out for the last couple months, trying to be as prepared as possible.
For sure, like you knew this day was coming, and so you was in a position, you was in the closest position you could be to be the man that you know what I'm saying, gonna be.
No, absolutely. Section. I mean, when you sign up for coaching, you know that the pathway at the end of the day, when you are successful and you win enough, those opportunities are gonna always be there, and I was definitely ready and I was prepared for it.
So I was a two-time Division II national champion.
Okay.
I know that you made it to the Final Four as an 11 seed.
Yep.
Talk to us about, the mental fortitude, the things that it took to lead your team, to the Final Four of, one of the biggest tournaments in basketball.
Yeah, no, it was, there were so many different things that I could pinpoint and say this is what it was. This was the blueprint and how we got there, but I'd be lying if I told you that, whatever we set, the goal that we set is exactly how we got there. But I do think that the one thing that always stands out to me was how close we were.
Yeah.
The brotherhood that we had, and it's a very cliche thing to say.
Yeah.
But there were things that happened through the course of that year where, certain teams and certain locker rooms, you either go, a couple guys go north, a couple guys go south, a couple guys go east and west, but we all stayed together. And we were a pretty good team through the whole year, first and foremost. From a statistical standpoint, we were one of the better defensive teams in the country, so we won a lot of games.
Yeah.
I think the difference maker was when we got to the NCAA tournament. We're a bunch of guys that are from a major city. We're from the DC area. And so when it came to playing against some other guys that, went to Georgetown, went to Maryland, went to Duke, we see them all the time.
Yeah.
So we weren't very starstruck.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh man, this is a big game, man. We're playing against so-and-so. Like, we didn't care.
Let's go.
We were city dudes. And so once we when you got 5 guys that step on the floor like that,
Yeah.
you know, the pressure is no longer on us. It's on the opponent.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
once we
yeah.
got that first win under our belt, you know, the rest was history.
Okay, so I got another question. It's kind of like a follow-up question. And as an MMA fighter, you know, I'm accustomed to contact. You know what I mean? I get praised for it.
Yeah.
You had an incident where you didn't get praised for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Talk to us kind of about that situation and how it was able to, you know, to propel you, or you know, how it was able to you was able to make a shift. You know what I mean? To being a, you know, an amazing kind of leader in that situation.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was, you know, I'm a competitor.
Yeah.
You know, the competitive spirit sometimes, you know, gets mismanaged. And in that moment, for me, that was mismanagement. I had an opportunity to play in that league that had some very, very good players, myself included, Jose Juan Barrera, who, you know, played almost a decade for the Dallas Mavericks, and then Lawrence Stokes, who played at Hofstra and was a very, very good player who, you know, obviously got the other end of my aggression.
Yes,
we were basically the 3 best guards in the league at the time.
Wow.
And me and Lawrence Stokes just we had a thing for each other, and we, you know, it was
a healthy competition.
It was healthy competition,
Yeah.
and some things happened the play before, and you know, that was a year that everybody expected us to win the conference tournament. Because we won the regular season. So
and correct me if I'm wrong, you missed out on the first conference game.
Right, no. So we won the regular season.
Yeah.
And so going into our conference tournament, and again at the time before, you know, everything happened, the CAA, which was the league we were playing in, it's a 1-bid league. And so just because we won our regular season did not mean that we were going to get an automatic bid. So going into the conference tournament, it's like you kind of you got to
7 man for himself.
Yeah, you got to
keep
playing. But then when you're the team that wins the league, then everybody's got a bullseye on you.
Yeah.
And so going into that game, you know, it was a hard game, man. And Hofstra won.
Because everybody is literally fighting for their spot again.
Like
no matter what you did in the regular season, you back to fighting for your spot.
Yeah, you're fighting for that bid. And Hofstra wanted it. They played better than us that night. And you know, one thing led to another, man. And you know, I lost my cool, and you know, it was one of the things at the time, as I reflect, you know, it was good for me. Yeah. Just because it taught me, no matter what and no matter the situation, you got to always be level-headed.
Yeah.
You know, as a player. And you know, the irony behind it is, me and Lauren ended up playing both for, and this is a story I don't know if I've ever put it out there publicly, but we both played for the Orlando Magic in Summer League. I think that was maybe 2009. And we had a conversation about it and like laughed about it.
Yeah.
And so public perception, especially the Hofstra fans, I
course.
don't mind talking about the Hofstra fans, but public perception is, you know, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened in basketball. And it's like I've come to grips with it. You know, one thing led to another, and everything kind of happens for a reason. I obviously had to sit out that first game in the NCAA tournament, but you know, all of that kind of came together, and without all of that happening, I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you. So it was unfortunate. It was a life lesson for me. But you know, if losing my cool in a basketball game is the worst thing somebody can say about Tony Skinn, I'm gonna live with it.
Yes, sir.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm wonderful. So welcome to Dupsy's Kitchen. I'm very glad to have you today. My name is Victoria Okuno, and I'm the owner of Dupsy's Kitchen. We are located at 2616.
Oh my
Street.
God.
So we're going to serve you some of our top items today. This you have right here is our egusi, and we have some peppered beef with that. These are a curry roll, and this goes very well with mango. Right there.
This looks good.
Have the rest of the day.
All right. So, I mean, we got Nigerian food in front of us. So I'm gonna ask you a little bit about your Nigerian heritage. You know, I feel like I am. You know, I'm a Nigerian American, but you know, I wasn't born in Nigeria, so and I haven't been back. Talk to me about like being in America, being Nigerian, kind of your family life. What kind of I know food is one, but what else?
Sure.
You know, what other things?
Family. You know, we I was born in Nigeria. I was born in Lagos, and so we came to
How old were you when you?
It was 86 when we came here, so I was 3 years old.
Okay.
Not even. And my mom, myself, and my siblings, she came by herself.
Yeah.
She left family.
Wow.
To come to the States, and we spent a couple of years in New York, and then left New York and came to DC. And it's funny, just growing up, you know, especially with a single mom.
Yeah.
You know, you somewhat. You know, because my siblings raised me, you know, other people, the neighborhood, you know, it was a village, and you kind of lose a little bit, you lose your culture a little bit. And I used to joke around all the time with people that one of the neighborhoods I grew up in, it was all Caribbeans, it was all Jamaicans, it was all, you know, and I felt like I could identify a little bit more with that culture just because, you know, again, mom was always working.
Yeah. And they did, and they talked.
Yeah. So you know,
them.
it wasn't until I got a little bit older that you know, I wanted to just kind of learn a little bit more about the culture. And then, ironically, once the Nigerian national team came, you know, kind of calling, that's when I started to get entrenched. And again, my mom would make Nigerian food at the house and stuff that, but she was very, you know, she Americanized a lot of the stuff that she would cook. Yeah, she would make like more of the cultural stuff for herself.
Okay.
And not so much for me, and you know.
My instance, like I get it from like whenever I got to visit my dad. My mom was like American, you know. So anytime I got like Nigerian food, it was kind of like it was when I was away. It was like a vacation, you know what I mean? So I was like, oh, this is like a special treat. I loved it, bro.
Yeah. Even as a kid?
As a kid, I loved it. Yeah, like when we would go to restaurants, like the spice would get me, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But I loved it. I think because it was different probably, you know what I'm saying, from what I was used to. You were able to represent your country. Represent your country and play on the world stage as a Nigerian athlete, you know what I mean? Talk to me about your Olympic experience.
That was to this day, that was one of the best experiences I've had, you know, as an athlete, as a pro. I remember when we went to training camp. It was actually here in Houston, and a couple summers prior, I had been invited to you know, play on the national team, but logistically it just never worked out with my schedule. You know, when you're an Olympic athlete, when you're playing on a national team, it's logistically sometimes it's difficult to commit to certain tournaments because your real job is going overseas or playing in the NBA.
This was during.
So this was training camp. Was like as soon as I had finished up in the year that I played. It was I played in Israel. So I had just come home in May. Yeah. And then, you know, they're asking you to come to training camp, you know, a week or two later, and typically that's your off season.
Yeah.
In the years prior, I took advantage of my off season. I didn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
And so this particular year, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I knew a couple guys that said that they were gonna commit to it. Mind you, Nigeria's never qualified for the Olympics in basketball before. So it was an afterthought.
Wow.
It was more so, you know what, let me go do it.
Try it.
You know, it's always good to play at the international level in, you know, in our respective sport. And so we ended up going to training camp. And then we went to Venezuela, which is where the qualification game was. Basically to punch your last ticket.
Okay.
In Caracas, Venezuela. And who's in our pool? Because it's all pool play.
Yeah.
It's Venezuela. So it's like once the schedule came out, you're like, yeah, this is going to be a quick trip. Because you're playing the host the first game. And then we ended up losing to the host. Yeah. And so after that first game, man, to be honest with you, I started packing my stuff. Because it's hard to get out of pool play if you lose your first game.
Yeah. Sure.
But things just kind of worked out for us, man. We beat the right teams after that. The right teams lost. And we ended up playing Dominican Republic in that final game. And I mean, we laid it all out, man, gave 110%. And we ended up, you know, winning that game, and that punched our ticket to the Olympics. And it was history. And it was one of the best and elating feelings because you get a chance to represent something that not a lot of people understand. Or not a lot of people, you know, get an opportunity to do. And, you know, the Olympic part was cool, it was fun, the Olympic Village, playing in the Olympic Games, but I always say the process to get there was probably more, it was more elating and satisfying.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have one, like, crazy, if you had to name one crazy Olympic, like during your Olympic run, crazy story that you could share? You got one?
I don't know what's safe to say.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
I mean, the Olympic Village, man. You just gotta imagine it's a hub of the best athletes in the world.
And this is cross sport.
Yeah,
like,
this is everything.
Yeah, everything.
Everybody stays there. You know,
Right.
they spend years putting that stuff together, and you know, obviously we were in London, which is a great city.
Yeah.
But I would say just, man, you seeing Usain Bolt, you know, you're seeing, you know, Michael Phelps, you know, Team USA. Like I saw Kobe, you know, standing at the McDonald's that they put on, you know, they put basically on the campus, man. But just getting a chance to just kind of see different athletes representing themselves, I think just to be in that company, it was cool. I would say probably the Olympic walk, where we had to put on our tribal, you know, our tribal outfits.
Yeah, yeah.
And getting a chance to walk with my teammates, my brothers, and representing, that was probably the first time that I was like, man, you know, this is crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm representing the whole my country. My
I'm
people.
representing. So,
Let's go.
you know, that and probably, you know, now that I reflect on it, you know, I would say, you know, getting a chance to play against Team USA, you know, as you know, somebody that grew up here, you know.
I ain't gonna lie, the first video I seen was you crossing James Harden. I felt the type of way. I was like, dog. Yeah, my boy on skates.
Yeah, no, that never goes away, man.
Never goes away.
It never goes away, man. And it's
But that's cool.
Yeah, no, it was a dope experience, man. And again, getting a chance to play against them, you know, that was, you know, that's what we signed up for, man. So it was a really cool experience.
Nowadays, or since, you know, athletes are being able to monetize a lot of their, I guess, accomplishments.
Yep.
Do you feel like this is, does it change up the recruiting? Does it kind of change up the way kind of the athlete is seen by the coaches? Does that play a part?
Yeah, it's definitely, the landscape has changed. I'm not that old to remember, you know, our run in 2006 and what that brought to, you know, the university, what it brought to, you know, the city of Fairfax. And so I'm all for it. You know, I think that if you're productive, if you're a good player, you know, if your brand is there, you should definitely be compensated for it.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's been, you know, it's been unfortunate just over the years how the model has been. And so, you know, as a coach, I'm for it. But at the same time, you know, there's levels to how to manage it. You know, as a coach, it's definitely made our jobs easier because we went from really just being basketball coaches and, you know, mentors to, you know, adding that component of being like a general manager. Because, you know, now every conversation is, you know, it is NIL, but I'm all for it. You know, but at the same time, I think it needs to be redefined where people actually understand that, you know, NIL is based off of your production. It's based off of your accomplishment. If you're a good athlete and you're, you know, doing what you're supposed to do, hell yeah, you should get compensated. But that's not everybody that's in the field. Unfortunately, it's the conversation that is in the field with, you know, most players.
Mr. Skinn, who would you say kind of developed or you modeled your game after, you know, coming up, being a Nigerian American? Who would you say you looked up to as players?
So, you know, obviously growing up in DC, at the time, you know, I was kind of coming into my own. Steve Francis was a big time player.
Okay.
And, you know, he's, you know, spent a bunch of years down here in Houston. I actually came to junior college because he was here.
Wow.
So he's a good friend, a big homie of mine through the years. And when he was doing his thing, he was one of the best, you know, players in the NBA. And so there were certain things that I used to watch that he did, and, you know, I kind of added that to my game. And, you know, I guess that would be not anybody particular in the NBA. But I would say he was probably somebody that I watched a lot of film on. Steve Francis. When you see somebody make it from your environment that you kind of grew up, it's like you're watching their games and like their games only. Especially, you know, back then where it wasn't, you know, games weren't on, you know, 16 channels.
Right.
Games were on like 1 or 2, you know, channels.
So the last thing we got, okay, we're gonna do a little bit of role playing, okay? I know you're a head coach now and you do a lot of recruiting. So we're gonna say you're recruiting me to George Mason. I got my mom here, I got my aunties here, you know what I'm saying? Everybody is, you know, we trying to figure out why we should come to George Mason.
Yeah, so I would say that the three most important things when it comes to As much as I would love for you to come play for me, the three things that matter the most, or the two things I should say, is the fit and the need. The way we're going to play, watching you fit us. But then we're also graduating somebody at your position, and so the need is there. And so those two things, when they come along together, I think that creates an opportunity that nobody else can really give you, because a program can need you, but you don't fit the way they play. Or you fit the way they play, but there's a really good player in your position that's not graduating for the next 2 years, and you got to sit, so there's no need there. I actually have both, and I think that would be, just a perfect match for yourself and for, my team.
Man, I love the way you put that, Coach. I got one question for you.
Yeah.
How many girls y'all got at George Mason? I don't know. How many girls is up there?
You know what? George Mason is the largest public school in the state of Virginia. Our enrollment this year actually just topped out at 41,000. So
say less.
I think that answers your question. It's a lot of students at George Mason in a very, very vibrant city, just right outside of Washington, D.C. It's a very, very college-y, friendly city, but also it's not in the middle of anywhere.
Yeah.
You have the University of Maryland around the corner, GW's around the corner, Georgetown's around the corner. So it's a thriving, vibing community of universities where we get some stuff done. So.
Okay, my last question is, Coach, how much money can you give me, man? How much money? I need some bread, Coach.
Well, I can't give you anything, but our scholarship is also one of the best at all levels in the country.
Okay.
Our cost of living, which is obviously predicated off of how expensive it is basically to live in the area. It's Fairfax County, which is, I believe, the third or fourth most expensive county in the country. And so because of that, our cost of attendance for our student athletes is, I want to say it's top 5 in the country.
Wow.
And so, that alone gets you well taken care of.
Okay.
If you ever have to call mom and dad for some money, you're trying to finesse them because you don't really need it.
Okay. A lot of baddies, a lot of money. Coach, I'm in.
All right, welcome to George Mason.
All right, Coach. Appreciate you coming through. You know what I mean? We had some amazing Nigerian food here at Dupsy's. So now this section of the interview is going to be what we like to call on pound for pound quick combos. Okay. So it's going to be quick. We're going to come at you quick. You know what I'm saying? We need an answer quick. You know what I mean? You got to roll with the punches. But yeah, so we got two things. You say what you rather, and that's how we're going to do it.
All right.
Okay, so we got Goosey or pepper soup?
Goosey.
Let's go. Fast, boy. Quick with the jab. Let's go. We got Adidas line or Yeezy line?
Adidas.
Let's go. A win at home or a win on the road?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Oh.
Road wins are hard, man. Give me a road win.
Let's go. Okay, we got Hakeem Olajuwon or Christian Okoye.
Hakeem the Dream, man.
Hakeem the Dream.
Yeah,
and then which one do you think had the better of the two nicknames? Nigerian Nightmare or The Dream?
The Dream.
The Dream was a better night?
I think so. I'm a basketball guy. I got to go with a basketball name.
Let's go. Okay, we got Lido's Pizza or Papa John's?
Lido's, man. Come on, man. Who put that? That was one of his questions. Why would you even put Lido's in the same category as Papa John's?
Oh, man. Oh, okay, we got Fufu or Jollof?
Jollof.
Jollof?
Yeah.
Let's go. Balenciagas or Louis Vuitton? I think you got both on today.
Nah, Balenciagas.
All right, we got a better feeling, okay? Going to the Final Four as a player or being named head coach at George Mason?
Oof.
Where you at?
Final Four as a player.
Final Four?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Sure.
Let's go. Okay, this is the last question we ask everybody this. Legacy or happiness?
Happiness.
Happiness?
Yeah, 1,000%.
Let's go. You care to elaborate?
Yeah, I don't know what type of legacy you can have if you're not happy.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take happiness and just family over
Yeah.
whatever type of legacy. That stuff don't matter when you get called up. So
Yeah.
I would take happiness,
Let's go.
Any day.
Cool, man. All right, man, this has been a great edition of Quick Combos with my man, Tony Skins. This has been a great episode, man. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you to Dupsy's African Authentic Kitchen for this amazing food, amazing Nigerian food. It brought me back. And yeah, this has been another Pound for Pound. Let's go.